All right, here we are. Welcome to our Monday update. It is October 16th, and this is the Lifeboat Academy's weekly update session, followed by office hours. And we've got a few new faces here. Well, some well-known faces, but showing up to the update in the office hours, and we're excited for that. As a way of getting started, we always start with a land acknowledgement. Channeling the wisdom of Norm Leach, who is channeling the wisdom of Indigenous cultures around the world. We start by acknowledging the land as a reminder that the land was here before we were. The land will be here after we are gone. And everything that we have ever experienced or will ever experience comes from the land and returns to the land. And in fact, we only exist as people because the land created us this way. And so by acknowledging the land, we are acknowledging our right relationship with all of creation, all of our relations, and we recognize our absolute interdependence, and we celebrate that interdependence. And in doing so, we also recognize and honor a deep debt of gratitude to the Indigenous cultures of the world who have held on to that knowledge and are still willing to share it with us, even in the face of genocide and ongoing efforts at erasure. And which I can't do a land acknowledgement today without acknowledging what happened in Australia. This is not ancient history. This is current events. And so in acknowledging our connection to the land, we also acknowledge the responsibility that we all have in living in right relations and doing the work that it takes to heal the relationships that have been damaged over time. So with that, I also acknowledge specifically the WSÁNEĆ, on whose territory I am currently living, working, playing, and growing, and recognize them as the stewards of this land from time immemorial, and hope to work to make myself an honored guest. Do what I can to see how I can make that happen. And so with that, we also want to go around and we always try to make sure that the time that we are using together is the most useful for everyone involved. So we start by doing a quick round to just let everyone say, what is it that you're most interested in at the moment? What has your attention? And so we're kind of where you come in from. And the circle, as I see it, is Ronnie, Roland, Pamela, Brandon, then me. And so I will pass over to Ronnie as I type that circle into the comments. Over to you, Ronnie.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Ronnie. I've been a farmer caretaker at the Lifeboat Academy, and I'm sort of transitioning into lifeboat mentor, ambassador kind of role. And I think that's part of what I'm interested in. Seems like we're getting a good number of referrals to work with some groups and organizations around governance and collaboration and structure. And I think people are recognizing that we have a lot to offer there. So I'm really excited to see where that goes and what I can learn from the process. And over to Roland.
My name is Rala, and I have been involved in the process that has developed into the Lifeboat Academy for the past 10 years-ish. And I'm most curious, not just for today, but for what's upcoming. In the last 10 years, there have been a lot of twists and turns and unexpected events and things opening up and things closing down. And I am curious to see where the adventure is taking us next.
So that's over to you,
Over
Pamela.
to Pamela.
I'm Pamela Woodland. I've never met Brandon, so Brandon, I'm on the southeast coast of what is called Vancouver Island and the Algonquin-speaking people's territory. I love your land. I'm edgy today, so excuse me, and uh, don't find the fact that I stumble into these modes too concerning. I just need to talk through them. I love your land acknowledgement. It things like this can trigger a kind of overwhelm. Oh, okay. And I like what you said, Roland, about things breaking down and things coming together. I feel that quite intensely. Quite intensely right now. So I too am very curious about the movement through upheaval and into what emerges from that. So I'll just leave it at that. And Brandon, on to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm new to the Lifeboat Academy as well, and I'm always curious. I guess I'm most interested at this point to learning the methodologies and through viscerally experiencing the philosophies of the Lifeboat Academy.
Awesome. And Pamela, you are among good company, and so no need to apologize, and that's what we're here for. So welcome, and yeah, and I think that I share that same. I am how to. One of the jokes around here is just relax, just let go. Like it's just so simple. And I think that's where I am today, is how do we just relax into, you know, things are transforming, and that's what things do. And how do we ride this wave well? And so yeah, and what does that look like? So with that in mind, let's go back to our update. And just as a reminder to anybody who might be joining us through the YouTube channel who's never seen the Lifeboat Academy before, our goal is to launch a fleet of lifeboats, and we consider a lifeboat to be a place-based local resilience network. So a lifeboat is primarily about your relations. It's about the people that you can turn to for support and help in times of need. And we aim to be a model of resilience and regeneration at the person, place, and community level. And by that, we mean resilience is how do we survive together, and regeneration is how do we learn to actually thrive through whatever changes might be coming. And we believe that our best bet is to find ways that we can all work together for mutual benefit and support. And that's the idea of the Lifeboat Network. So we are here to support anyone who is trying to build a lifeboat in their local community and help keep us all connected. And we have 3 basic areas that we've been working on. And so I'm going to pass over to Ronnie to talk about what's been up for outreach and presentations.
Yeah, so we have quite a lot going on, as you can see, which is very exciting. Last week, we finished creating a 1-page flyer for our social mortgage, which is one of the ways to invest in the Lifeboat Academy. And we've already started sending that out to folks. We're looking for people who might have connections to foundations and organizations with larger pockets, deeper pockets. So that's who's getting that information. I lost the PowerPoint.
Sorry, I brought up the, hopefully people can see the compass. Oh, sorry, I brought up the wrong thing. I was one ahead. I was going to bring up the social mortgage 1-pager, and then I got distracted by the compass.
It's because it's just so beautiful.
It is very beautiful. Anyhow, so sorry if that
That was our
affected.
compass.
That was our
We've
compass.
also created an updated version of the compass, which is basically a tool to show all the different aspects of what we're trying to do at the Lifeboat Academy and how they intersect. And it's often difficult to describe what we're doing here because we're doing so many different things that are all interconnected. So it's a way to kind of give a summary. I still can't see the PowerPoint, so I don't know what else to say.
Hang on, I'll go back. I'm madly clicking different buttons. I was trying to get back to the one pager, and then you started talking about the compass. And I thought, oh, I'll put the compass back up. Anyhow, we'll deal with all of this in editing. Back to you, Ronnie.
Okay. We're also sending out letters for support from individuals who are connected, individuals who are related to fields that we're working in. So if you are connected to an organization or you have a professional background in regenerative farming, environmental protection, water systems, community reconciliation, restorative justice, etc., you can expect that we will approach you for a letter of support. And if not, please reach out to us. We're also, like I mentioned, requesting folks refer us to foundations if they're connected to foundations. And you've seen the compass already. Next steps are we're continuing to look for folks who might want to help us host info sessions to look for investors. And I just want to be clear that we do pretty much all the work for the info sessions. All you really need to do is reach out to your people and invite them to come. We'll host on our Zoom account and we'll do our PowerPoint presentation and host Q&A. So it's a pretty simple thing. So if you're interested in hosting an info session for your community, let us know. We're also going to start asking, kind of assessing if folks who are interested in investing could buy their shares through sweat equity. So instead of having to pay money up front, working for your shares over time, how appealing is that? How many shares might you like to work towards over a 10-year period? So if you're interested in that, let us know. We're also going to be approaching folks soon to have that conversation. We're following up with letters of support for folk. A lot of people we've already asked, and we're going to be sending out follow-ups to make sure that we receive those letters. Introductions to foundations. We have homework to do on our website as well. It's nearly done. It's been in process for almost a year, so we're in the home stretch, and we're going to get there. And then Love and Off the Land, who are a local Pender family, are going to do a recorded interview on the farm with us in November sometime. So we're going to start looking towards prepping for that. Also, a shout out to Matthew and Katie at Twin Islands Cidery. They promoted our project on their Instagram this morning, which is super awesome and helps us get a lot of visibility. So just a plug for please share our social media posts, share about the project with your networks. It really helps us get seen by people who don't know about us yet. So that's a really, really big help.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And I think I'm going to tie that in also to if you are willing to share with your network, but you're not really sure what's the best thing to share or how to share it, then we'd love to help guide you through that. And you can come to office hours, which are every day of the week for a chunk of time every day, or just send us an email and we can do it that way back and forth or set up a unique time. So in terms of the developing the network, as Ronnie said, we're getting a lot of interest coming in from different channels on ways that we can support the growth of the network as a whole. Behind it all, there is trying to make sure that we have our technical systems in a good shape so that we can not let things fall through the crack when people are expressing interest. And that represents a whole lot of invisible work to keep that information sort of clean and tidy. And especially right now where we're getting all sorts of leads coming in kind of fast and furious. It's especially hard to make sure that they all get attended to. As I mentioned, we have office hours Monday through Friday. We have morning hours, evening hours, and afternoon hours, depending on the day. So we're trying to meet people where they are as best we can. This last week, we had a really great meeting with Christine Spinder, who is somebody that I've known for probably over a decade, I guess now, who is a facilitator, a community organizer, and I would say it's reconciliation advocate, and anyhow, has a lot of really interesting overlapping interests with what we're doing here. And we're starting to talk about how we can grow that relationship. And so there's a lot of potential there. We've also been working with Regenerate Cascadia, and the activation tour is currently going on. We have taken a step out of the activation tour because we were just overwhelmed with other things, but we're continuing to work together. And right now we're starting to think through what the summit's going to look like. And it's a 10-day summit, basically the first week of November. And we are trying to figure out how the Lifeboat Academy can have a supportive presence there. And our next steps are keeping on with the CRM cleanup in the office hours. And then we've got some specific projects that we want to follow up on, some potential partnerships, including the Co-op Housing Federation of BC, and the Bowker Creek folks, who are doing restoration work on Bowker Creek, which also ties in, or could potentially tie in, with Regenerate Cascadia, and some leads that we have with the neighborhood houses, where we are thinking to pitch the lifeboat ideas to them, and anyhow, again, see where that might go. So with that, then we also have had some changes in who's here, and so I'm going to hand it over to Roland to give us an update on comings and goings.
Jen was successfully seen off to her next adventure. We just realized this morning that Jen also was the holder of our podcast material. So a little plug that the podcast interviews are continuing. And today, part of what we're likely going to be doing is working out how to record today's interview. So I guess in part it is, I'm going to put a plug out. I haven't talked to the others about this, but if you have podcasting, like microphones and that kind of thing, and you'd be willing to lend it to us, then let us know. And then there's also that Brandon has joined us. He arrived last night after a little adventure with his vehicle, and we're very familiar with that kind of thing. Today did not go as planned, as one of our frequent sayings. We're glad to have him here, and he's going to be available for a few days to do our onboarding, and our onboard is available. I'm going to ask Ben or Ronnie to tell me where it is, where people can have a look at it if they're curious.
It's not up on the help desk yet, but it will be hopefully this week sometime. Yeah.
So that's coming. And also, Ronnie is continuing to work with us and is also preparing for transition, returning to the cradle, so to speak, in Texas, where they'll be working on lifeboat activities from there, and hopefully there as well. There is finally Barbara, who is very interested in what we're doing, and we are hoping she is also interested in being here with us, who will be arriving this week as well. And with that, in 2 weeks, she'll be arriving in 2 weeks. Barbara, if you're listening to this, we do know when you're arriving. I specifically may not. So I will pass back to Ben, and I think I saw Brandon. Brandon has his hand up. So I'm going to leave to Ben as the senior facilitator whether or not to take questions now or at the end.
Oh, I think we should definitely open the mic up to Brandon for at the moment, especially because you can just say a little bit about and literally Brandon arrived last night at 8 o'clock, something like that. So probably hasn't had adequate time to ground at all yet. But if you just wanted to sort of introduce yourself, then you can go from there.
Sure. I really just wanted to comment on the podcast. I didn't know you were making podcasts, but in terms of, I'm curious about that. But I have a small microphone. It's a nice. It's a like a semi-pro quality. And yeah, there's a potential. I was gonna go back to my camp today and grab some more things. So there's a potential I could have it here before 4 o'clock, and I could make it a stronger intention if it's desired.
Cool. Yeah, I
I
think
just
that
wanted
would
to
be
mention that.
great. That would be great. Yeah. We are participating in a podcast, but we still need like the microphone stuff on our end. We're actually working with Andy Wildman, the Tasmanian Wildman, and he is going home. Going home now is his project, and as part of that, he is working closely with us to develop a kind of we are featured in multiple sections of his podcast. And so that's where that is. Well, and then just to wrap up the update, taking a little bit longer than we normally do here, but so this week, the research or the focus is going to be on reaching out to foundations and the legwork that we need to do to keep that going, including probably contacting some of you all to see if you could either pay off over time or pay off through sweat equity. And how many shares might you be interested in the Lifeboat Academy at that point? We're also continuing to try to arrange info sessions, and that actually ties in with some of the partnerships and projects that we're working on. They may be additional avenues for info sessions. We are committing 100% to getting our website homework done this week. This is the week it's going to happen. And likewise a little bit of map homework. And we'll be working to onboard Brandon and see where that leads, and then basically keep on keeping on with the outreach and office hours. So I think that is basically our plan for the week. And with that, we'll turn it over to any questions about the update first. And then barring that, we'll go into office hours and start to talk about whatever issues are up for people. So are there any questions or comments on the update? Pamela?
Yeah, just very quickly. So I sort of black out every once in a while, and so I'm not sure if I got a gist of where Brandon is coming from, and it'd be kind of interesting, just a brief sense of how it is you, Brandon, found Lifeboat Academy, because that is kind of an important thing to know, like how the place gets found. And the other thing is, Ronnie, are you actually physically going back to Texas? Holy crap. Okay. Okay, it'd be interesting. I'd love to talk with you before you physically move, even though if you're still going to be here digitally. Is this correct? You're still with a lifeboat? Okay, very cool. But big change, very big change. So I'm sure, wow. Okay, Brandon, how'd you find these folks?
Well, I ended up on Pender Island, and I've been feeling just welcomed here, and I just want to stay put for somewhere, and I've chose Pender. And then people just kept recommending, because I also I'm a filmmaker, but I'm wanting to pivot my career to collective living and ecosystem restoration. And I would talk about that with folks, and then I had at least 3 or 4 people tell me that I should meet the lifeboat folks, and so I did. And And from where the things that they're working on right now, I'm really excited to do this kind of work, which is a lot of fundraising right now. So it was a good timing, I believe.
And where do you come from, Brandon? And how, and you just met them because you're on Pender Island, and then by word of mouth you connected with them, right? Okay.
Yeah, well, we met, I think it was through, leaning into like-minded people and gravitating to
Mhm.
like-minded people
Yeah.
and like-minded goals and values. And I grew up in the Lower Mainland, and yeah, I yep, and I haven't spent much time on the islands at all, which is it's such a shame now that I have been lately in the last couple of years.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Great. Good. Thank you.
Mhm. Thanks for your curiosity.
Cool. Well, are there any other questions or comments before we segue into office hours? Great. I'm gonna stop the recording now